Hey everyone, welcome back to another Explainer. I am so glad you're joining me today because we've got something really special and honestly kind of magical to dive into. Today, we're unpacking a really charming piece of source material, a bedtime conversation between a super curious 7-year-old named Leo and a very talkative celestial neighbor named Luna. But this isn't just some simple little bedtime story. It is actually packed to the brim with fundamental astronomy. We're going to break down the real science hidden right inside this midnight voyage among the stars.
Okay, so let's set the scene and start right off with Leo's totally hilarious and completely innocent misconception. Picture it. It's nighttime, crickets are chirping, the wind is doing that swooshing thing outside, and young Leo, wearing his star-printed pajamas, is looking out his bedroom window. He spots a shape up in the sky and just point-blank asks, "Is that a glowing banana up there?" It's such a great entry point. I mean, we've all looked up and seen familiar shapes in the clouds or the sky, right? And for a 7-year-old, a bright glowing yellow curve? Yeah, that totally looks like a piece of fruit. But that glowing banana is about to clear up a few things for us.
Section 1. Meeting Luna the Moon, the friendly moon.
So, our so-called glowing banana playfully introduces herself as Luna, the friendly neighborhood moon. Now, Leo is obviously pretty amazed that the moon is talking to him, but he immediately jumps to a highly logical question. Why exactly does she look like a curved slice of melon tonight? Like, is she on a diet or something? And Luna's answer gives us our first real nugget of science. She tells him she definitely doesn't eat space snacks. Actually, scratch that. It's more like her shape only appears to change, and it's entirely based on how the sun's light shines on her as she travels around the Earth. She's always a full sphere, but we only get to see the parts of her that are actively lit up by our sun.
And that perfectly explains the moon phases we see right here from Earth. Sometimes the angle of the sun's light lets us see her entire round shape. Bam! You've got a full moon. Other times, we only see half of her lit up, and then on nights exactly like the one in our story, we get a crescent moon, which Luna beautifully describes as just showing off her smiling, curved side. She's basically playing this massive cosmic game of hide-and-seek with the Earth's shadow and the sun's light.
Moving on to Section 2. Secrets of the Moon. What is Luna made of?
Okay, channeling some major, wide-eyed, 7-year-old wonder here, we absolutely have to ask a question that has been a childhood space myth for generations. Is the moon actually made of cheese? Luna looks super close to Leo's window tonight, so he just has to ask. It's the classic rumor, right? That this giant glowing orb in the sky is literally just a delicious snack waiting to be nibbled on.
Luna's response is just brilliant. She playfully points out that, hey, if she were actually made of cheese, the space mice would have eaten her a long, long time ago. In reality, she gives us the facts. She's entirely made up of dusty rock, she's covered in massive craters, and she features these vast, incredibly old volcanic plains. So no dairy up there whatsoever, for sure. Just a really fascinating, rugged, rocky terrain.
All right, Section 3. The truth about stars. Spilled glitter.
So Leo looks past his new friend Luna and he zeroes in on the rest of the night sky. And I just love how he describes it, like a black velvet blanket covered in spilled glitter. It's so poetic, but also a really accurate description of what it looks like from our own backyards. He notices these tiny little dots are blinking and winking at him, and he wonders, are they bugs? Are they tiny little fireflies just buzzing around way up high in the dark? Well, Luna hits him with some serious atmospheric physics, but in the best way possible. She tells him that stars don't actually blink. I know, mind blown, right? Their light is actually completely constant. But that starlight has to travel a really long way, and eventually it has to wiggle its way through Earth's busy, wavy air just to reach your eyes. Our atmosphere is constantly shifting and moving, and that actually bends the light slightly as it passes through. Luna compares it to the stars playing peekaboo with us. That is exactly what creates that famous winking effect we call twinkling.
And the reality of what those stars actually are, it is completely mind-boggling. We are definitely not talking about tiny fireflies here. Luna explains that stars are massive, roaring infernos of super hot gas, literally just like our very own sun. The only reason they look like tiny little sparkling diamonds is because they are millions and millions of miles away from us. Talk about a perspective shift, right? Every single tiny speck of glitter up there is a gigantic, roaring inferno.
To make all this crazy vastness a bit more fun and manageable, Luna asks Leo if he wants to play a game of connect the dots up in the sky. And boom! This gives us a formal astronomical definition. A constellation is exactly that, a group of stars in the sky that people historically imagined as giant connect-the-dots pictures. It is literally just humanity's ancient way of finding familiar, comforting patterns in the sheer chaos of the cosmos.
She actually points out a few of these shapes to Leo. She directs his attention to this group of bright stars that kind of looks like a big spoon with a long handle. Leo squints, and yep, he sees it easily. The Big Dipper, of course. Luna explains that hundreds of years ago, people would look up and imagine all sorts of wild things up there. Bears, hunters, even flying horses. As Leo puts it so perfectly, it basically turns the entire night sky into a giant, magical museum full of ancient artwork.
Which leads us right into Section 4, Mind-Blowing Space Facts. Super duper cool.
So as Leo is finally starting to get heavy eyelids and drift off toward dreamland, Luna glows softly and leaves him with two just completely mind-bending facts. First up, gravity. She explains that if you were to jump on the moon, you wouldn't just do a regular little hop. Because the moon's gravity is incredibly weak compared to Earth's, you could bounce way higher than a kangaroo. How cool is that? And second, she leaves him thinking about the speed of light. Because space is so unimaginably huge, the light from some of those stars he's looking at, it literally took years and years to travel all the way across the universe just to reach his bedroom window.
And as Leo finally climbs back into bed and thanks his awesome new space buddy, we're left to ponder this really beautiful, kind of lingering question. When you look up at the night sky, whose starlight is saying goodnight to you? I mean, think about it. The light hitting your eyes right now might have started its journey before you were even born, traveling from a massive ball of burning gas all the way through the quiet of space, wiggling through our busy atmosphere, just to sparkle for you tonight. It's such an amazing thought about the sheer vastness of our universe. Thank you all so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep looking up, keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.